Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Purple After Dark, part of the Purple Daily umbrella of daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, skinny Judd Zulgad now, which we'll talk about later, executive producer Declan Goff, and our guy, one of the most passionate Vikings fans we know, Realistic Randy. You can find him on his own YouTube channel as well. Cheers to a clutch victory by the Minnesota Vikings as we look ahead to Carolina. Realistic Randy, as we start out every single Tuesday on Purple After Dark, presented by Surly Brewing Company. The floor is yours. What's on your mind, sir?
I don't want what I'm about to say take away from the good things that are actually happening with this team. So, for instance, Danielle Hunter. I mean, this offseason, the idea of giving him a big fat contract extension, it didn't really sit well with me because I thought to myself, okay, well, we don't know if this is going to be the Danielle Hunter of old before he missed the entire 2020 season. Well, lo and behold, he's been better than ever, and he deserves all the money after this season is over with. Justin Jefferson, no sophomore slump with him, top 7 wideout right now. I think when the season's over with, he's going to be creeping into top 5 territory. But my takeaway from Sunday's game is, for this coaching staff, thank God the Detroit Lions simply exist. Because I counted 5 possessions for the Vikings where they legit forfeited the ball. You might as well should have just punted the ball on first down. And outside of that second to last possession by the Vikings where Madison fumbled, the Lions didn't take advantage at all. I mean, Jared Goff, if he wasn't throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was checking down to DeAndre Swift. And how many times – this has been the MO for Mike Zimmer his entire head coaching career. Okay, got a defensive stop? Hell yeah. Oh, wait, that means we get the ball back? Oh, I'm not comfortable with this. Here, opposing team, you get the ball back so we can play more defense. That second to last possession, Madison fumbled the ball, run before the fumble, and the Lions took the lead. I mean, thank goodness for his sake, the Vikings still won in spite of their head coach. And I actually was on this YouTube channel, Purple Daily, a couple of weeks ago, like a dumbass, and I said, I'm going to give Zimmer the benefit of the doubt. I think this is the year that he's going to step outside of his comfort zone and be more willing to allow his offense to be more aggressive, to be more of a vertical threat, to take advantage of the matchups, Jefferson and Thielen, regardless of whoever the hell is guarding them. I truly, truly believed in my heart of hearts that Zim would change. You know why? Because I'm an idiot. And then Mike Zimmer, the post-game presser? I shouldn't have to explain myself to anybody. Actually, you should. Why do you consistently coach like a coward in crunch time? Huh? Riddle me that. And then Bashaud Breeland. Oh, dude, this dude gets on Twitter and acts all big and bad after having his first good game in 5 weeks. The first 4 weeks of this season, he couldn't cover a twin-size bed with a king-size sheet. But, all right, cool. You know what? Congratulations. You beat the Lions, but one thing is perfectly clear. The ceiling with this team, with this head coach, is not, all right, they could be contenders, look out, or they'll be one of the top teams in the league. The ceiling with this team, with this head coach, is this head coach does just enough to not get fired. And until the ownership takes ownership of their own team, we're going to keep seeing the same thing. So congrats, you beat the Lions. Hang up the banner in US Bank Stadium right now. 2021, not the Detroit Lions. Congrats. We'll see what happens next week against Carolina.
Way to start the show.
Bravo.
Way to start the show.
Bravo.
Right there. Yeah, and that we're gonna make that rant sponsored right now by TCL. Enjoy more of what you love with TCL, an award-winning lineup of new TVs. If you're watching on a TCL, we appreciate you because you're supporting the show. So check them out. One of the world's fastest-growing entertainment brands. Judd, your thoughts?
Can we talk about the remarkable stat that exists when you have an offense that has Justin Jefferson, Thielen, KJ Osborne turned into a nice player, Randy. Kirk is, he can drive us crazy, but he's good. Like, you can't say, oh, he just sucks.
Dude, I love that the Kirk mic'd up stuff that NFL Network put out. Kirk goes deep in the catalog of Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah.
I'm week by week, I am becoming more and more of a Kirk Cousins stan. Let me tell you.
If you guys have not seen the old school SNL where Joe Montana hosted, and for the most part was terrible, but there's a great skit where he like lives with a friend, and everything Joe thinks he says. And
he's just stream of that's what that was Kirk mic'd up.
That's Kirk. Kirk is that guy.
Kirk's just like turning to his teammates on the bench as the fire alarms are going off. This must be new. Yeah. Oh, it sounds like they shut him off, and like everyone's just ignoring him.
And Justin Jefferson's like, "You are so uncool, dude." But to go back to the offense, so the offense has, to our point, for weeks now, whether Mike wants to realize this or not, Randy, the offense is the strength of this team. Like, their offense is their strength. So explain to me how this offense has not generated a touchdown. They have not gotten into the end zone in the second half since week 1. They have not scored a second half touchdown. They scored a second half touchdown against the Cardinals on the pickoff return for a touchdown of Murray in that game. But in the 3-game homestand, they have not gotten in. They did not get in the end zone. Like, how is that even possible in 2021 for an offense with the weapons that they really do have?
Because this team plays scared, Judd. Anytime they get a lead at any point in the game, they play scared. They just want to, okay, let's run the ball and let's drain some clock and seal this victory. But, coach, there's 2.5 quarters left in the game. Yeah, I know, but we're going to do things my way. And if we see that from the outside looking in, I am pretty sure that other teams and other coaching staff knows that as well. So they say, we know you're not trying to do anything with this offense, so we're going to play crunch, expect the run, and guess what? They end up running the ball anyway. What was that where, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the exact quote in front of me. Mike Zimmer said, I guess he was questioned about the 3 straight runs. It was either the 3 straight runs that led to the fumble, or it was the final possession of the first.
I think I know where you're going on this. I think it's the end of the first half.
Why did you do that? Yeah, okay. Why did you do that when you had it was like 37 seconds left, whatever?
So yeah, 41 seconds when they received the kick and 2 timeouts. Yeah.
Okay. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, well, I just wanted to run the ball first and see what would happen. Yeah, what? Dude, that's a loser's mentality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We all know that has been the case with this head coach forever. We've got film on this guy for like the last 5 years of doing that crap. So teams are well aware of that. That's why. And then when they get in the red zone, they catch a tight butt. And okay, let's have the kicker bail us out with a field goal. They play scared. Any other team, any other head coach with these weapons on the outside would be, oh my God, salivating at the mouth to say, we are going to turn up and score 29 points a game, 30 points a game. But they go, oh, are you kidding me? He doesn't want to win, okay? Zimmer doesn't want to do whatever's necessary to win. He only wants to win his way.
Yes.
And the rest of the league has figured it out.
Yep. No, I think what you just said, I love the way you just put it. John Harbaugh wants to win however it makes sense based on the pieces that are on his roster, right? All right, Joe Flacco is my quarterback. Okay, we'll win this way with Joe Flacco, right? Okay, Lamar Jackson. No, he's available late in the first round. Okay, let's bring Lamar Jackson in and not make him run the Joe Flacco offense. Let's create a whole new offense. Let's empower a whole new group of coaches and players to run something that looks completely different than the thing that we used to win the Super Bowl in 2012, right? And it's like Mike Zimmer at every step. Not only is he just an absentee offensive coach, but he comes barreling in with his philosophies, and they've all been the same basically for the 7 or 8 years that he's been here. And when you have an offense with this many weapons, And you nailed it. Like 40 seconds left, 2 timeouts. It's the Lions. And you're coaching scared at home in that situation. Like as Judd knows, I am always hesitant to call for heads. And listen, I'll walk you to the plank and I'll criticize you. But when it comes to calling for heads, like, I don't know. I'm not a big call for heads guy. But when he tried to explain himself, after being asked, by the way, a very respectful and I think fair question by Courtney Cronin from ESPN. And Courtney even kind of gave him an out. She's kind of like, hey, you're getting the ball back in the second half. Did you just kind of feel like you wanted to run the ball a couple times there? And like he does the deep sigh. Well, I shouldn't have to explain myself. Why not? You make millions of dollars. This is your 8th year, man. Like you've been here for almost a decade. The goal is Super Bowl. You're falling short. Don't get exasperated by having to explain yourself. It's part of the job that you're paid 7 figures to do. And when you're running the clock out with 40 seconds to go and 2 timeouts against one of the worst teams in the NFL, when you have Justin Jefferson over 100 yards, I think it warrants some explanation as to why you're being so cowardly with your play calling.
2 catches for 20 yards in the second half after Justin Jefferson went all the way off in the first half.
Correct.
Who does this guy think he is? How dare you ask me a valid question? Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am? Mike Zimmer, bro, you've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the thing is, I've been saying this for 3 years. For 3 years, I've been saying the same thing, and Mike Zimmer has been putting out the same results. I don't know how all of a sudden it's glaring and it's become a bigger issue. I guess more people are realizing it. But he has done nothing. He has been fat and happy, and we're going to treat this dude like he's Bill Belichick. He has accomplished nothing. 38-7 against the Eagles. That was his team. Against Indy, 2016, when they quit. That's his team. 2018, week 17 against the Bears. That was your team. Against the Niners in the divisional round. That was your team. I mean, goodness, thank God the Detroit Lions exist, and that the New Orleans Saints just so happen to face the Vikings in the playoffs. Because without that, who is he? He struggles against good teams. And we're talking about the Lions, for God's sake.
Right.
Who does he think he is?
The Lions.
You like that?
So the Lions win actually offends me almost more than the Browns loss, because of the fact that there was no compelling case that you can give me. And I don't talk about 2 deeps. They're playing 2 deeps. It's the Lions, and they're banged up, okay? The Lions win. First of all, you didn't deserve it. Second of all, your game plan, when you take a guy like Jefferson and say, nah, you know what? Can't do a thing with that, is so blind to how football is played now that I am actually more offended, because at least I felt like, aside from Baker, Cleveland played a really good game. Like, that was a tough game. They played pretty damn well. Detroit's terrible. They are just terrible. And so I am actually more taken aback that you did not use that game as really a game to just get right. Like, that was a get right game. And there's no reason why everything, for all I've heard, Detroit plays hard, Detroit does this. Every trouble the Vikings had on Sunday was caused by, the Vikings. But I want to delve into a bigger question about Mike and being scared, because I'm with you guys on this. I think he is scared. But I think it's too simple to just, it's just sort of a broad statement to say Zimmer's scared. Here's what I think he's scared of. I think he's scared that the reality is this, because this is true. Like, what I'm about to say is absolutely true. The Minnesota Vikings 2021, their strength, their calling card is offense. Their calling card is not this defense. It's offense. And I think that scares the hell out of Mike, because 1, he doesn't get it. Like, that's not the side of the ball he gets. And 2, his whole life has been built on being recognized for building and cultivating and winning with defenses. So I think the whole thing really does scare him. But I think the biggest thing that we need to understand is, just because he is a head coach and a defensive guru does not mean he really gets how offenses operate or are supposed to. And when you have a 34-year-old offensive coordinator. I believe that's Kubiak's age now. He's not a guy that can sit Mike down and say, Mike, let me at least privately explain to you what we should be doing here. And I think all of those things are why he's scared.
But I think I agree with most of what you're saying, and that he has identified as a defensive guy his whole life. You know, a big part of the reason why they hired him is because at the end of the Leslie Frazier tenure, the Vikings were ranked 32nd in a couple key defensive categories. And so, you know, they went with a guy that is going to come in here and fix the defense. And so even when they hired him, they were like, yeah, definitely you're the head coach, but like fix the defense first and foremost. Mm-hmm. But after 3, 4, 5, 7 years, you're no longer a defensive guy. Like, you're a head coach. Okay? Look at some of the best head coach. I brought up John Harbaugh already, right? Well, John Harbaugh was a special teams coordinator. Does John Harbaugh still identify as, well, I'm a special teams guy? No, he's a leader. Yeah, right. He's a leader. He's a head coach. Right. He's a connector of people. He's a guy who empowers young quarterbacks and works with them, right? And for Mike to be now carving out 45 minutes to sit down with his quarterback for the first time, it is laughable. From a leadership standpoint, I'm never going to expect him to be the offensive mastermind that a Bill Walsh was in the 80s, you know, or take your great offensive coaches. Like, he doesn't come from that background. But for him to still be so risk averse, when you have a chance to open this thing up a little bit more, second and long, why are you second in the league in rushing attempts? Why are you averaging 5 points per second half at home so far this season, right? Take the training wheels. Dude, you're going to get he thinks he's preserving his job by being conservative offensively. No, dude, you're walking closer to the unemployment line by being conservative offensively. It doesn't make sense.
I think Judd is right. I think he is scared because they're not winning this year. If they are going to do anything, it's going to be because of this offense, even though he's a defensive guy. But what I will say is, to take a break from teeing off on Zim.
This has been very therapeutic, by the way. This is great right now.
I'm just going to say this. This is a franchise that is begging to win their first championship. The fans, they love this team. They want to see this team. How many fans out there say, you know, oh, my God, well, when I die, the Vikings, they can be my pallbearers so they can let me down one last time. They just want to see the Vikings win a championship. Your guys' slogan is, we want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before we die. This team is begging for one. However it gets done. And do you realize, Zim, if you are the coach to pull that off, I mean, you will be loved forever. We don't care if the offense scores third. However it takes to win, we don't care. So give up the shtick of I want my way or the highway. If you win, people will love you forever. But he can't get over that.
Yeah.
Do you think he knows, though? I don't know that he knows the path, how to get to where you're talking about. Like, it makes perfect sense. But to Phil's point, what Phil said is the problem. This man has been in this job, head coach of a National Football League team, since 2014. And it's crystal clear he still doesn't know the formula for, I'm a head coach. And you know what? If we sign Cousins and we have Jefferson and Thielen and hell, Osborne now, and Cook comes back, and we go, let's go high flying, man. Let's score 32 points per game. I don't think he understands that. I think it's just he's so tied up in defense. It's all about defense, and he doesn't. And the flip side problem there offensively, and I really do think this is a huge problem, is short of Drew Brees in his prime or Peyton in his prime. I don't think Mike trusts any QB. I think every QB, like Kirk, like Case, he liked Teddy because he drafted him and he thought, I can get him to do exactly what I want, right? But like, when's the last time that you felt that Mike was truly empowering the most important position in sports? I'll say this. I think the answer to that question is never.
Okay. I want to go down a path here in a second because you brought up the quarterback dynamic with Mike Zimmer, and I think there's been an interesting paradigm shift in 2021 here. But I see that can of Surly just peeking its head up over
Oh, you want to
the
see
bottom
more?
line there, right there. Oh, hi. Hello there, Surly
You want
Furious.
to say
Purple
hi?
After Dark,
Say hi to the Surly Furious?
Hi there, yeah. Tell us more.
Oh, let's see. I will tell you right now that after Sunday's game, see, this is what makes this beer and its name so appropriate. Because, yes, the Vikings won. And so you said, I want to celebrate with a beer. In fact, I'm going to make it a Surly Furious. But you also said, I'm surly and I'm furious. And so you picked up this delicious beer. You cracked it open and you enjoyed it. And you know what it helped you do? Take the edge off a very rough game against the Detroit Bleeping Lions, who the Vikings should have kicked their butt. And you know it. But at least you went and you enjoyed yourself one, maybe two. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you to stop. A few Surly Furious.
I mean, be
not my job to
responsible.
tell you, well, no,
don't get arrested.
Drive. Well, don't drive. But if you're sitting on your couch, I'm not going to be like, I'm the Surly police, because that's not my job. My job is to share the message of the most delicious IPA beer in Minnesota.
Also, a shout out to our friends who produce the most comfortable underwear, boxer briefs that we have ever strapped on in our lives. Chill Boys and chillboys.com. And you're wondering, well, where'd they get the name? Think about it. There's really no secret as to why it's called Chill Boys. Listen, it's long underwear season. Now that it's fall weather, it's the 50s in the Twin Cities. Yep. I'm all about those long underwear. I even wore the long underwear and I put some shorts on over the top of them and then wandered around on a walk for a couple miles.
You went NBA.
I do that.
NBA.
I play softball in that. I used to play softball in that.
See, you guys are hip.
Money. It's
You're
money.
hip young kids. I could never get away with that.
Chill Boys cares about one thing: your comfort and the comfort of your boys. So if you're on a hot seat like Mike Zimmer, try some Chill Boys. Chillboys.com and tell them Purple Daily sent you. And no, they don't have straps, Bob. I guess strapping them on is not a literal phrase, but I guess if you want them to have straps, send them a note at chillboys.com.
We can just stop right there. They don't need straps. We're all good.
So I have been as critical of Kirk Cousins as pretty much anyone in the market. I still think that there are some fatal flaws in his game, that especially at the salary that he makes in a salary cap league, that are going to prevent him from being the leader of a Super Bowl team. However, I think for the last few years, I have thought that Kirk Cousins holds Mike Zimmer back more than Mike Zimmer holds the team back. Because Kirk historically, even with Washington, has been so bad against good teams, so bad in prime time, and so bad statistically in the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter when you're trailing and you need when it's a quarterback's time to save the team at the end of a game. And we've quantified this with different statistical analysis, throughout the show. He doesn't show up in those moments. This year, a funny thing has happened, including on Sunday, by the way. You could make a case that Kirk Cousins saved Mike Zimmer's job in the last 37 seconds of that game. I think while all of us were sitting there trying to process the Lions turning the game around, they put their grapefruits on the table, they go for two, and they take the lead. And I think there was a lot of fans sitting there just saying, "Oh, just lose the game now. Just get on with it. Fire Mike Zimmer, right?" And I can't believe it. Outrage. And while everyone was feeling those feelings of outrage, rightfully so, Kirk Cousins put his helmet on, trotted out there with 37 seconds left, completed a pass to Adam Thielen, a pass to D.D. Westbrook, and another pass to Adam Thielen, and set the Vikings up in field goal range, just like he did on the road against the Cardinals. Bang, 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 4 passes, field goal range, even shorter, and Greg Joseph missed it. Just like he did against the Bengals. Bang, bang, bang. Delvin Cook with sort of I don't know if it was really a fumble, thought the refs blew it, but Kirk has been better by far in these late game, gotta have it situations. And he probably saved Mike Zimmer's job on Sunday. And so he deserves credit for rising up in some of these moments. And Mike Zimmer, instead of being startled by his excited quarterback after the game is over, you like that? He should be embracing him, because Mike Zimmer would be updating his LinkedIn profile today if not for those 37 seconds of Kirk magic against the Lions. Your guys' thoughts?
Well, I did think that that celebration at the end, I didn't think anything of it, just because I understand how it looks kind of weird. And Mike Zimmer, is he gonna throw some hands? Now, it's football is just a different sport where they celebrate in a different way. When I saw it in real time, I said, "Oh yeah, they're football guys and they're jacked up and all that fun stuff." But to your point, Kirk Cousins, yeah, every time the Vikings have had a chance to win despite losing, it's been because of Kirk Cousins setting this team up. And with the Washington football team, I grew up in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I know everything about that team. That was a dumpster fire of a franchise. So when the idea of, okay, Kirk Cousins is a free agent, the Vikings may go after him, I said, heck yeah, bring him in, because this franchise is competent. We're going to do everything right. We're going to build an offensive line. We have Stephon Diggs. We have Adam Thielen. Everything's going to be right. But in some ways, dare I say, it's been similar to how Kirk Cousins, then Washington football team, was operating as it is right now with the Vikings. And to your point, Kirk Cousins, I think he should be more celebratory of his quarterback. The only quarterback he was rah-rah about was Teddy. I know, Judd, you said because you think Zimmer thinks that, okay, I can make Teddy do whatever it is I want to do. I think beyond that, I think it's because Teddy's safe. Teddy's the safe quarterback. He is the prototype quarterback that won't take chances and make mistakes, whereas Case Keenum in 2017, every miraculous play that he did that was just off script of what Mike Zimmer wants from his quarterback, what would Zimmer do? No, he needs to haul it in. He's got a horseshoe. He's doing too much. I don't like this at all, one bit.
Yep.
He hasn't been that complimentary of any quarterback besides Teddy Bridgewater. Kirk Cousins, he's played his ass off. But I think going back to the point of the Vikings forfeited 5 possessions on Sunday to the Lions, give your quarterback a chance to make plays. Allow him to use his receiving weapons. Because if you're going to keep doing this run-first offense, and I don't care what's going to happen, what's going to happen is the more you keep forfeiting possessions, the more chances you're giving to the opposing team. Eventually, it's going to bite you in the ass. Yep. Allow Kirk to be Kirk. And this team could be, I want to say 2018 LA Rams, when they had Todd Gurley, Cooper Kupp. And so that means you can still have Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley, Cooper Kupp. I think Robert Woods was there. Brandon Cooks, I think he was there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. This offense is so full of potential. Kirk, when his back is up against the wall, when you allow him to just sling it, he's a great quarterback. And his offensive line has gotten better now, albeit against. But, man, when he gets protection, he can be nice, but also the coaching staff needs to allow their quarterback to be great.
And that's the thing that gets me, though, because there's no really compelling case if you give this thought not to do exactly that. Like if you leaned in right now, like if Zim decided I'm going into work right now, 11:31 Central Time, and I'm going to call the offensive guys in and the players in, and I'm going to say, you know what? I've been a real jerk. I'd like to apologize. I'm going to lean in right now. Justin, I'm leaning in. Adam, same thing. Kirk, you know what? I might not like you personally that much, but I'm going to lean in. There's no reason not to. Like the only thing that's my point. Offense is really the calling card of this team. And so forget, yes, the schedule's tough. I get that. The start disappointing. I get that. But the only way I'm convinced that you're going to dig yourself out and have a chance is to say, I've got to turn this loose at least to a degree that makes sense. Because like right now, I mean, that Detroit game is a blueprint for one of the dumbest game plans I've seen. It was just dumb. It was dumb. I mean, to say that they were forfeiting offensive possessions is realistic. And that's inexcusable for a team with the talent that this team has. And so I don't know how you get there, but the only way that this team, in my opinion, is going to rebound and make a playoff run, because they're going to play tough teams. And if they say we're going to shut down these teams and potentially the QBs that they're going to face, they're going to be dead. The only way that they're going to do what they want to do is to say, we're going to allow the offense to operate in a way that in 2021 makes sense. If they're like, you know what? No, it's defense first. They are going to be, I believe, in this stretch of games out of the bye, in enormous trouble.
Yeah, the 4 games out of the bye, Mike Zimmer wants to win games, it feels like, just based on the conservative edicts to Clint Kubiak, right? Just based on all the offseason defensive moves. He wants to win games 20-16, right? 23-13. You've got Dallas, you've got Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and then Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Dude, you have to win those games. That Chargers game against the Browns was like it was first to 50 points. You know, look at the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs. It's like you need to score 30-plus points in those games and then hold on for dear life situationally defensively. You're not going to win it by putting training wheels on the offense and running the clock out at the end of the first half because, what if something bad happens? You know, who cares if something, you know what? You're going to get fired if you don't do something drastic offensively. So, like, why do you care if someone fumbles at the end of the first half? Who cares? And even if they do, go beat the Lions anyways, you know? How are you going to beat those 4 teams out of the bye running a training wheels offensive philosophy? Answer me that. It's a rhetorical question. I know I'm preaching to the choir here.
Well, and I think, too, if everyone is saying, hey, you know, you guys doubted us, right? Especially Zim, you know, hey, you guys doubted us. The media doubted us. If you really want to prove that this team is back, it's that run after the bye week in November. Like, if you go into December 1st and you win at even, let's say, 4 out of 5 of those games, including the Carolina game, all right, you're going in December and you still got some tough games, but you beat Baltimore on the road. You beat San Fran on the road. You at least probably hopefully came off the bye and beat the Cowboys at home on Halloween, which is obviously still not going to be a good win whether you're well rested or not. That's going to be the stretch where if you actually come out and prove it and say, all right, we were all wrong, you're back, and there's still a month left of football to play, but that's still a tall task to ask and assume that you can all accomplish that. But until that happens, unless you really run the gauntlet in November, I really can't say you're back at all.
You are right now, though, in that stretch, playing the way that you currently are, you are self-sabotaging yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the problem. They are actively going to go into those games with game plans that encourage a loss. And I guess my question is, do you want that? Is that what you want?
How does this play end? How do you think you got Carolina
with an old man being dragged off the stage?
I mean, how does this thing play out?
I mean, we're talking about a 4-game stretch, but also Carolina is not a bad team either. They're 3-2. They're one of the better defenses in the league. And against Detroit, when you forfeit so many possessions, it's okay because it's Detroit. But against the stronger teams, they're going to run up the table. They're going to score some points. If we keep operating in the same old fashion that is defense first and let's run some clock, Mike Zimmer should be fired, but I can see them pulling off a couple of wins and finishing 8-9. But you know what? Hey, we can continue where we left off in 22. Give me another shot because of the ownership. We would love this coach, myself included. If you could, we're not even saying win a championship. If you could be competitive and just win 10+ games every other year or consecutive years, we would love you. Make us actually competitive, but you are self-sabotaging yourself to where if you keep playing the way it is or if you keep coaching the way it is that you've been coaching, you should be fired. You should be gone, and you will have no one to blame but yourself. I see them because they're always going to pull off that 3-game stretch of we told you so, you doubted us, we're going to prove you wrong, because that's all he has. That is all he has. I'm sure he prints up Pioneer Press and whatever other articles or videos and puts it up in his locker room and say, look at these SOBs. Look what they're saying about us. Let's get you. Yeah, let's prove them wrong, because that's all you have.
He's kind of doing that now at his press conferences. Like he's just flat out he's just airing out Chris Thomason and Courtney Cronin. You know, he's out of bleeps to give, I feel like.
How dare anybody give legit questions of how crappy of a coaching job that he has done. He hasn't done anything. He's been a joke of a head coach, which quite frankly, I've said this many times, but I'll say it here. If he was in any other market, he would have been fired a long time ago. I think he's super comfortable in this market. I don't think he gets challenged enough. Maybe this year he's been challenged more, but I think he's been so enabled by this ownership to do whatever the hell he wants that he feels so big and bad. You remember 2019? That was before the wild card game, and there were questions, Mike Zimmer, he may get fired, the job security and all that stuff. And he sat there and said, well, I have the 5th or 4th best win percentage in this franchise and all this other stuff. You have done nothing against winning teams. You are terrible. You beat up on bum-ass teams all the time and say, look at me. Give me a trophy. Give me a participation trophy. How he's been able to get away with this shtick for so long is incredible. He is the student that barely escaped failing by getting a 70 on the final exam. He's a fraud.
The Wilfs need and love for stability in some ways is good, but in this way, I think it works against them because they so want to stick with their coaches and their GMs, and they don't look. And the problem with Mike is when Mike gets his back against the wall, which I firmly believe is the case right now, you guys, he becomes so defiant that, and like, I am sort of convinced that the whole thing about is our defense is going to get us through is part of that defiance. Instead of saying, I think Mike in Mike's mind thinks this. Mike thinks, all right, I could give in, right? Like I could say, let's run an offense that makes sense. But he thinks, screw it. I rebuilt this defense and I'm going to show them all. And if it doesn't work, they can fire me. As opposed to, how can I save my job? Like, what can I do to save my job? And that's why the Kubiak hire is intriguing because, thinking it through, Mike likes older coaches. He likes guys that he can trust. And so it's almost like he promoted Clint with the intention of, I'm going to be as defiant as possible offensively, because Clint Kubiak is never going to walk into Mike's office and say, what are we doing here? A lot of guys might have. Gary might have. Shermer for sure. Turner probably did and then had to quit because of it. So this does almost set up as Mike's last stand of, I'm going to do it my way. And he's not looking at the team, and I don't really think he cares that much.
But like, why? Again, this is another rhetorical question here. I feel like we're all in a similar place here with our frustration. But why does it having a great defense and wanting your defense to be better and improving, etc., and having an offense that's also high octane and takes calculated risks, like these aren't mutually exclusive things. Like, it's not that, we want the defense to be better, therefore we have to be conservative on offense. Like, you can be aggressive on offense and try to maximize your scoring output and also try to improve your defense. Like, it's just weird that in his mind you have to play this gravitational pull toward grinded out games football on both sides of the ball, and that's the only way to do it. It's like there's a lot of teams in the NFL right now, and I would argue that Tampa Bay is doing it the best. They just won a Super Bowl. Bruce Arians encourages a great pass rush and a fly around the ball defense, right? Great run defense. Like, everything the Buccaneers are doing defensively is what Mike Zimmer's defense did in 2017. Stop the run, get after the opposing team's offensive line with your front four, and offensively, the Buccaneers are one of the biggest deep threat, throw the ball down the field teams. They've got the second most deep passes in the NFL. They also have the greatest quarterback of all time, and I get that. If you put Tom Brady on the Vikings, would Mike Zimmer trust him to do more? Probably. There's definitely some trust issues there, but like, you can be great defensively and also high octane offensively. Like, those things don't necessarily have to be, antithetical to each other.
Well, let's talk about that defense, because we're assuming that the defense could be great. But even with Michael Pierce, he's going to be out for a while. The defense has been, goodness, towards the bottom of the league, bottom 10, I would say, against the run. Right now, last I checked, they're 22nd against the run. Anthony Barr, he got back, and okay, I had some rust, but quite honestly, I watched that game over. That was a typical performance by Anthony Barr. He gets pushed around by any and everybody. Doesn't matter whether it's an offensive lineman, a fullback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. He can't break a block worth a damn as a linebacker. Bashad Breeland, I mean, you had no problem just ignoring Cam Dantzler, and especially after he was on Twitter and saying, I can't believe this, and, basically subtweeting like Stephon Diggs. But Bashad Breeland, he's a liability. You keep him out there, that's not helping this defense. Anthony Barr's not helping this defense. So we're assuming that the defense would be great, possibly to have a great defense and a great offense. But, Judd, you're right. This defense is a liability. The offense is the strong point of this team. And if you don't take advantage of it, you should be fired. But we'll see what the ownership group does.
I just feel like like Mike knows that it's close to being done here, and Mike's going to go down Mike's way. And that's a shame, because this team's not as good as I thought. But if you morphed the play calling and the emphasis on where it should go, it could be a playoff team.
Yeah.
It really
all
could
right.
be.
Final thoughts here on Purple After Dark. By the way, if you are watching us right now on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, if you could click the subscribe button and the like button, it would help spread the word about the show. We'll give you daily Vikings entertainment in exchange. You can also find everything we do on scorenorth.com and the Score North app. We are changing the way that Minnesota sports content is consumed for you guys in the Twin Cities. We've got, now that the Wild are starting up this weekend too, Judd's Hockey Show, you can find that on scorenorth.com. Mackie and Judd, our other daily show. So if you're new, or if you're just sort of stumbling into therapeutic Vikings discussion, scorenorth.com is the central hub and the Score North app for everything we do here. Let's jump around the room here. Final thoughts as we flush the Detroit game, look ahead to Carolina. Start with Declan.
Yeah, I mean, not to be going back into the crutch of always being average and gravitational pull to be average that Phil always likes to talk about. But how I'm looking at this with the bye week coming up, get to 500, let's reassess. I think that was a statement I gave Judd too on our comments edition the other day. Get to 500 and let's reassess things. It's going to be a gauntlet out of the bye, but get to 3-3. Let's see where we're at from there. And I know the Panthers started off 3-0. They've come down to earth a little bit. Still not a gimme game. You're on the road. I don't know if the Vikings will even be favored in that game. They probably won't be.
I believe they are. I believe the Vikings are a 1-point favorite right now, which is actually kind of that makes me feel like Carolina is winning. But
and Carolina's defense has been, I believe, pretty damn good this year. But get to 500. Let's reassess. Let's reset. Go from there. That's where I'm at.
All right, Judd.
I think that, and it helps to talk, because I feel like I now get myself. I did a self-scout.
Zen Judd.
So I've done a self-scout, okay? And my self-scout revealed this. I think Detroit, despite the fact that they came back and won, was my breaking point. I think in watching that game, it was my breaking point, because that was a game in which, to go back to what I said earlier in the show, you get right. Like, any problems that you had against Detroit were caused by you. They weren't caused by your opponent. That was a game to get right. Detroit's awful. They're banged up. They're on your home turf. Like, everything gave you the right to say, we are going to control this damn football game from start to finish on both sides of the football. And the question is not going to be, how much do we win by? It's going to be, how happy are we with how we came away from that game? Because we're going to be rolling going into Carolina, the bye week, and we're going to get right here. And instead of getting right, they gave up their lead late. It was pathetic. It was awful. And I cannot give the Lions a ton of credit. I mean, good for them. It's a nice story. I feel good for youth football teams that play well, but I don't really care. So I don't care what the Lions did. I care what the Vikings did, and I really think self-scout wise, just me personally, up here in the Judd head, I think that was my final breaking point with this whole administration, and seeing the absurdness with which they went about their work that day, and knowing that I could have done better myself if I had delivered the game plan, which is not a good thing when we're talking about professional football.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Randy?
I'm sick of doing this. I've been saying this for 3 years, and I'm so sick and tired of trying to give Zimmer brownie points at the end, saying this is what you should do to win. You're going up against a much tougher team in Carolina. They're 3-2. Their 2 losses have been within 1 possession. Any chance of you saying, okay, we're going to try to run the clock? The Carolina Panthers are going to make you pay for it on the road, mind you. Was it Bank of America Stadium? I think it is.
Who knows now?
You can't take any chances. You need to get to 500. I'm with Declan Goff on this. You need to get to 500 and figure it out. But if you keep doing the same thing, which I have no doubt that they are, I just hate the fact that every single game, it seems like maybe I'm -1 margin of error. Every single game has just been a nail biter, a heartbreaker, because of something that the Vikings did to beat themselves. Look at your talent. Stephon Diggs was right. He wanted to get out of town because you want to run the football. You have been blessed with transitioning from Diggs to Justin Jefferson. Realize what you have, because if you're going to do this same old thing of this is my team and I'm going to do whatever it is that I want, then you should be fired tomorrow. So get it together against Carolina. They're a much tougher team. They're not going to give you many opportunities to hang around like Detroit did last week.
Yeah, I think honestly, You like that? You like that? I think I'm most curious about the Kirk Cousins dynamic right now, because he has, this is so different than the way his career has played out up until this season. But he's kind of been there in the fourth quarter, late in these games when the Vikings need someone to bail them out. He's kind of been there. He's been there 3 different times, maybe even 4. Out of the 5 games. So I'm curious to see how this game plays out, and will Kirk Cousins be standing there in the end? I expect it to be a close game. Will he be standing there in the end again with a helping hand to extend Mike Zimmer's career as Vikings coach and this team's relevance in the NFC North going into the bye? A lot of great comments on the screen. We pop your comments on the screen throughout both Ventline and Purple After Dark, so we appreciate the community that you guys have helped us build here on Purple Daily, on the Purple Daily YouTube channel as well. And go check out Realistic Randy. He does his own stuff on his own YouTube channel. He's been a long time previously caller into Ventline back in the old AM radio days for us, and so go check out and support the work that he's doing too. But good stuff, you guys. All right, that was a football game on Sunday. If you missed Alex Boone, too, he had a lot of takes earlier today on the regular episode of Purple Daily. So I think people are finding out, the people who are like, Alex Boone was a bust. What would we want to listen to him for? I don't know, because he's fun and insightful. You should definitely check him out if your last opinion of Alex Boone was he was overpaid as a failed guard, right? Well, he still offers a lot of insight, even if you still believe that. So
hey, a lot of us are overpaid, then you lose your job. If we it happens a lot, not just in professional sports. It happens, and you crawl back.
Yeah, you just
it happens.
You deal with the ups and downs of life. So, all right. Any other plugs? Anything else, Randy? Social media? Where are you? You're doing some stuff on Twitter, but I don't see you on Twitter. I feel like you maintain a distance from Twitter.
I have so much going on outside of Twitter that it's hard for me to really keep up with it. So basically what I do is, especially during game days, or if I have some sort of thought, I'll post it and then I'll log out, because my work schedule is probably 14, 15 hours a day. So
grinding, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's grinding. He's putting in extra hours with us here on Tuesdays.
Awesome.
Yep.
So Purple After Dark every Tuesday. A lot of people were wondering, why are you guys starting so late? It's 11 Central Time every Tuesday. So take a nap, whatever you guys have to do. You got to go to bed early, get up in the middle of the night.
I make it. If I can make it, you can make it.
Yep.
True.
So thanks for hanging out with us on Purple After Dark, presented by Surly Brewing Company. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Write that down on Purple Daily.